Okay, so hello everyone. For those of you who are not watching live, I'm Dami, she, her pronouns, and today we're just going to do a general overview about the steps to getting certified, as well as getting an idea of the training presentation. So first things first, I'm going to go over the survey. So confirming when you would all like to have your presentation, when you plan, and whether you need any accommodations. So I'm going to share my screen so you all can have an idea for those of you who haven't filled out the survey yet. So this is the survey where you can confirm what volunteer opportunities your chapter is interested in. For example, the recycling dumpster or composting, whether your chapter is interested in a rain barrel. For those of you who have already confirmed, we saw that a lot of you want to learn more information, and we'll be sending that out to you so you can get an idea of the responsibilities that come with that. So we'll be sending that out to all of you for those of you who are interested in learning more about the cost and what comes with it. So some of the volunteering opportunities on campus we've listed here so that we can connect you, or you can reach out directly. So most of these campus sites have websites where you can go and you can sign up and see what opportunities they have. And then in terms of your chair meeting, for those of you who haven't completed it yet, so originally you had November 6th here, and you know there's a lot going on in terms of there's homecoming, there's elections within your chapters. So if you're able to get your meeting done by mid-November, that is the most ideal, so that you can at least have some events done by the end of the semester. And accommodations, for example, if you're dealing if you need any assistance with a presentation, or maybe deal with anxiety or anything like that and need assistance with it, you can definitely let us know, and we can arrange a time to come to your chapter and just talk about whether you have a projector so we can plan what materials to bring. And the last thing I want to mention is we know a lot of what we've been doing has been virtual. So this will be an opportunity when we start our monthly chair meetings to kind of get to know each other, collaborate, and do fun activities. So some examples we had was like doing a paint and sip, having a tour of a community garden, or some type of DIY project we can do as a group while we talk about, what are some challenges you've all had and what are ways we can support you. So putting your availability here will help us know when is the ideal time for everyone to meet. And we just have some options here, and that's basically what our current survey is about. I know, Sabir, you had a question about your availability. So when you fill this out, you can let us know what date you would like us to come by.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and then before we move along, one thing I did want to mention is the Good Neighbor Day. So this is a campus-wide initiative that's going to happen. So like we were mentioning, it's been taking a lot longer for the presentations to happen, and we understand that it's been a bit of a process, and there's a lot of more chairs registered this year, but this is an opportunity. So while you're working on getting your presentation together, meeting that 30% threshold, this is an opportunity for your chapter to start working on one of your events, or this can count as an event. So there are a lot of slots still open. So I'm going to be sharing this link with all of you. So these are some opportunities for your chapter to consider. So even if you split up, like for example, there's still 40 slots here. So if you split up as a chapter and different people go to different places, like some people go to the high school, some people go to the elementary school, that will still count as an event, and you can all do like a group reflection. So this is an opportunity that's already pre-organized. So if any of you are interested, I would definitely suggest signing up soon. So there's a lot of cool opportunities here that will count and are related to sustainability. So I will share this link. Did anybody have any questions about this? Or is already signed up? No? Okay. All right, with that mentioned, I will follow up with this, and there's a few more opportunities on campus. For example, there's a website called 24 hours, 24 hour service at UMD, where you can find a lot of additional volunteer opportunities if you're looking for something that's already prearranged. There's also some community partners you can reach out to and just ask like, hey, our chapter is really interested in partnering with your organization. We have this many members and we'll be available this day. So that's also another way to kind of be involved with something that's prearranged, and especially with the current time frame we have. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a second so I can pull up my slides, and then we'll get into the actual presentation journey. Okay. You cannot minimize when you're recording. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, awesome. I have it up. Can you all see my screen?
No, it's not sharing right now.
Okay, hold on a second. Technical difficulties. Hold on a second. Okay, share my screen. Okay. So here is our presentation. Okay, so just doing an overview of how you're going to be discussing things with your chapter and letting them all know what's involved. So we do have a website you send a link for, but this presenting to your chapter is just going into more detail and letting everybody know like what to expect, and also know what areas they can they have any idea of like what is your role as well. You can talk a little bit about what they can expect from you this year. Okay, so you're working towards a certification. And we're just gonna go take an overview. So I know a lot of you are already like interested in sustainability as a topic, but just thinking about what does that look like at UMD and globally. Okay, so sustainability is foundational and essential to public health. So just thinking about, well, we're currently in a global pandemic, and what does that mean for sustainability? So thinking about environment, how other people are affected, how our economy is affected, and then thinking about what does this have to do with UMD, and what does this have to do with your chapter? Okay, so we're not going to be turning to the people next to us because we're virtual, but if anyone would want to volunteer to go ahead and just talk a little bit about why you care about the environment and what kind of brought you to this role.
Hold on one second. So I guess why do you care about a healthy and safe environment? I have a good friend of mine who's like an environmental major, and he's just been talking to me a lot about the environment and different aspects of it that are affecting it, even in College Park. So that kind of prompted me to like be interested in the position. I knew I wanted to hold a position in the fraternity as well. And what are some ways we as Greek students can build a culture that approaches sustainability? I know in our chapter we have like a compost, and we recycle, which is honestly sadly to say like not something that every fraternity does in their houses. So I mean that's definitely a start, but like there's lots of ways we can like build like a culture that kind of like fosters sustainability as a priority.
Hey, awesome, thanks for sharing. Yeah, so a lot of the chapters, so I know some chapters have already have like a recycling bin, and then some that are off campus might have to work with some partners. So that's definitely a start. And we do have a lot of initiatives on campus. Like I think at this point we have recycling bins on like every building in campus. So that's awesome that a friend kind of, shared sustainability with you. That's definitely something that we hope that you will share with your chapter and that they will take in the long term. So thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to mention why they got involved with sustainability and why they care? What's their why? So you can also feel free to just put it in the chat if you would prefer. Let's see how many people. Okay, so I'm not sure if the other people on might have stepped away, but thank you for volunteering for this role. We definitely think that Greek chapters have so much potential to change the campus as a whole and to advocate for a stronger and more sustainable community. So we hope that during your time in this role, you will gain professional development, be able to collaborate with other chapters, as well as strengthening the Greek community as a whole and building more rapport with other chapters. We're just going to move along. Okay, so thinking about globally, so 1 in 3 people don't have access to safe drinking water. And what are some solutions? So we already see around campus, we have a lot of it's refillable water bottles are a norm on our campus, and thinking about the bigger picture and how other people are being affected, and even like thinking about what your chapter, maybe if your chapter wants to go further in terms of like what, in terms of doing like in volunteering internationally or working with a nonprofit. So there's definitely ways to contribute locally and globally. And thinking about the research. So research is also another way that you can advocate for other people and make sure we have a stronger and healthier environment. Okay, so 1 in 5 deaths are caused by air pollution. Okay, so just getting some facts and going closer to where our campus is and the initiatives they've been taking. So we just have some facts here about carbon emissions have been reduced by 60% since 2005. And UMD's research and innovation leads clean energy advances. So our campus has been taking a lot of initiatives and thinking about how students as well can contribute to this change as well. Okay, so thinking about wildlife and how they've been affected. So we have some percentages here and thinking about the wildlife we've lost and how can we retain what we have and promote life and promote conservation as well. So those are some important things to think about. Like for example, one of the steps for some of you who have already been certified as green terps is thinking about eating less meat. Can also help with these extinction as well as like kind of like the pollution we have. Okay, so here are some organizations. So this, like earlier, I talked about some volunteering opportunities. So one of them is definitely the UMD Pollinator Garden Habitat if your chapter is interested in that. And there's also other organizations you can partner with, for example, the Wildlife Student Organization at UMD. And then we have 25% of our campus has tree canopy. So we have a lot of green space in our campus. Has anybody been on the, what is it that's common in front of McCowden? What is it when people like lie down in the grass?
The mall.
Yeah, it's like people have a hammock. Yeah, has anybody enjoyed that? Like in a hammock? Yeah,
I have not, but they just cut, there's a new apartment building coming next to our chapter house, and they just cut down the trees in between.
Okay, yeah, so I know there's been some people like discussing that, like what is UMD doing as a campus and how they can further kind of conserve what we have and how can we conserve things that are around our campus so that it does remain green and that we do have a green campus in years to come and for terps that come along. And those are things that your chapter can help advocate for.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a video, but we're just gonna go along and just kind of talk about it more and just think about environmental justice. So there's a few people I haven't heard of. So Julia, do you have any thoughts about environmental justice or anyone else want to share like their thoughts about it? And of course, we have a picture of McKeldin right here just discussing it.
Yeah, I guess I just with my chapter, I want to talk a lot about environmental justice on campus because I don't think a lot of my chapter kind of knows like what's really going on and why sustainability is so important. So I was actually excited to see that this slide was included just because it brings it just kind of like takes it beyond just like our chapter and UMD.
Right, that's awesome. So if some of you have the opportunity to read our this year's first year book, it actually really focuses a lot on what's happened in Flint, Michigan. and thinking about how like a lot of issues like this have kind of been hidden. And even though a lot of people are aware of what happened in Flint, thinking about how there's plenty of communities where similar issues have happened and why they're happening, and what kind of social constructs and determinants affect environmental justice, and who gets clean water and who doesn't, and how that, thinking about how those are some systemic issues and how your chapter can have awareness of that, especially considering where our campus is located. So our campus is in a very diverse area, a predominantly Black area, and just thinking about what are some of the actions that we're taking, like who kind of like suffers the consequences, and who suffers the consequences of certain issues, and how we can promote more equity. So that's what environmental justice really refers to. So we definitely have some initiatives on campus thinking about not just thinking about how can we recycle, or what are some reasons why certain people might not have the time, or even might not have the time or the access to do certain sustainable actions, and the inequities there. So that's a great point, Julia. And I definitely hope that you all will talk to your chapters about that and have them reflect on that. So regardless of their majors or their interests, there's always ways to think about how we can be more equitable as a campus, and thinking about in our fraternities, how we affect the larger campus and the states as well in the area. So PG County in general, like our actions and how we take care of items, give back and things like that. Okay, awesome. Anybody else have any thoughts about environmental justice, or anyone new to the topic? Okay, so in that video, so hopefully if you have a projector, you'll be able to share the video with your chapter. If not, you can also feel free to share the video with them over email, like maybe after your chapter meeting, you can be like, so this is what we discussed, with like a link, with like our website link, which I'll send. And then you can also include like any videos in case you don't have a projector at your chapter house. Okay, so we kind of discussed this a little bit. So thinking about like who kind of suffers from certain, the consequences that affect certain people more. So these are some things that you want to think about before you have the conversations with your chapter. So this topic might be new for a lot of them, and thinking about what does it mean to have equity? What does it mean for certain communities to have to suffer the burden of when it comes to like pollution or toxic waste and things like that? And how did they think about national issues such as what has been going on in Flint, Michigan? So just having them kind of reflect and seeing like the bigger picture. So these are definitely some questions to consider discussing with your chapter. Okay, so are there any solutions you all are excited about or would want to bring to your chapter related to environmental justice? Or you just like, or maybe you're just thinking about, I'm just gonna have a discussion with them and start there, because a lot of people, this might just be something they're just learning about, like kind of like Julia mentioned.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that wave. I haven't really thought too much into the events. I was gonna take it one step at a time, get the chapter meeting done, then work on the events.
Okay, that's a good plan too. So as we go along, you all will have the opportunity to have professional development and also talk with one another. So when you're learning and talking with one another, you can also bring that information back to your chapter as well. So we'll also have opportunities for you to learn more about these issues. And there's also a lot of opportunities on campus, which I will be forwarding to you all whenever there's like a Zoom meeting, or even thinking about getting the first year book. So that book talks a lot about environmental justice.
I wanted to do something with the community learning garden, like right next to the School of Public Health, and maybe organize a way to get like my chapter to come in and volunteer for a few hours, and use that as an opportunity to talk about food insecurity and food deserts and our campus pantry, and kind of approach it from that aspect.
Yes, I think that's an excellent idea. And that's kind of kind of them having that while they're doing something hands-on, also getting that information at the same time is definitely an awesome way to kind of connect them together. So we have sent the links for those opportunities, but if you need any help being connected or want us to follow up with them in terms of like securing a date with all that, you can definitely let us know. So those are some great resources on campus, like whether it's even if your chapter thinks about doing a can drive or something like that, or just spending time volunteering in the campus pantry at certain times, that's also some other ways that they can get involved. So that's a great idea, Julia. So yeah, we're actually related to what we're about to get into, so campus sustainability. So we have another video. I think we watched this video in the last one, so we can go ahead and, oh, it just started. We watched this in our introduction meeting, but it's also good for your chapter members to see. Okay, so this is kind of like some solutions. So an education piece, so helping people learn about different issues. So for some people, they're used to just recycle, reuse, and the R's, and just think about how do we go beyond that? How do we think about environmental justice? How do we think about climate change and other issues? And even things like, I know now we're having a lot of discussion about fashion, and that's more of a topic now. So through training and professional development, you'll be able to learn more about this and kind of like help with UMD meeting their goals and missions through your chapter. Some other initiatives, sustainable water use. So most of you probably have your water bottles that you use when you're on campus. And also thinking about transportation, like whether it's taking the bike or not using your car on campus. So these goals are kind of also like aligned with being certified as a green terp, and your chapter will also get to kind of talk about their experience. They will be able to meet different goals related to this within the green terp program. Okay, so we're just talking about carbon emissions. So thinking about fully electric cars in the future, but for now, I would say a suggestion is like, reducing how much we use cars in general right now, especially when our campus has access to like free buses and the metro. So those are some ways that we can help reduce energy. And also thinking about how much electricity and stuff like that your chapter uses. So thinking about like your numbers or talking to your chapter, what does your electricity bill look like? So there's some ways to consider that, to consider carbon emissions. Okay, so thinking about how you can be more sustainable in your daily choices. So we're running out of time a little bit for my accounts. So these are some questions to think about. So I've shared these slides with all of you, so you'll be able to talk to your chapter about this. Like, what are some ways as chairs you have some ideas like with about some ways you can be involved on campus, but thinking about the daily choices. So that is something when they get certified as terps, your chapter members will be able to reflect about their daily choices. For example, taking showers that are shorter, making sure they have their water bottle, thinking about ways to like conserve energy. Like for example, if they don't need the lights, and some of the chapter houses, if you don't need a TV on, or if everyone is going to bed in the living room and nobody's in the living room, turning those lights off. So there's a lot of ways to consider that, and the composting. So signing up for the composting, I think majority of you have. So those are some ways. And even if you're on the house chapter, whether it's you're living at their apartment, at their home, those are some ways they can include sustainability in their daily choices. You see, sorry. Okay, so now we're focusing more on your chapter. So getting certified. So now we're just going over how to get certified. We talked about this a lot. So this is just important for the whole chapter to get a better understanding of now that you have as chairs. So we're promoting sustainability in agriculture, supporting other students to learn about how to be greener. So that kind of comes from your role as a chair to connect them to sustainable actions and initiatives. And these are the certified chapters for the 2020 year. So now we're at the 2021 year. So in my email earlier, trying to clarify that chapters that were certified this year will have to recertify. So if you were certified as a green terp Last year, you would have to get recertified for the 2021-2022 academic year. So this is for an academic year. So that's why the members of your chapter will need to get recertified, and your chapter will need to go through the process from the beginning in order to be certified. Any questions about that? Nope. Okay. Okay, so these are the 2021 certified. So these were the people that were certified in the spring of last year. Okay, so our 3 steps. So we first had our introduction meeting, and we have this meeting where we're going over your presentation. And we have, oh, sorry. Okay, so then once you have your presentation, you're focusing on 30% of your chapter certifying as TERPs and completing 3 chapter-wide actions. Okay, so you have this meeting going on where you conduct your meeting, you have your chair, and you have your chair expectations, which you can review more on the website. So the first step is having your presentation, which we're preparing for now. The next step is getting ready for your events and brainstorming about what do you want to do as a chapter, what is everyone interested in. And so you can hold meetings, like you can plan your own specific original events, or you can also get involved in things that are in campus and have your chapter be part of that. We would prefer for at least 2 of the events you have to be something that that your chapter comes up with, and 2 other ones can be something that's already planned by the university. For example, the Good Neighbor Day. And this is an example of one of the painting murals. This is actually really pretty. But a lot of them have different ideas, and you see them around campus, or you might also notice ones that are not painted on campus and think about what location, if there's a specific location that your chapter is interested in. Okay, so these are just some examples. So we talked about the pollinator gardens, the community learning gardens that Julia mentioned earlier, and the campus arboretum. So these are all places you all can volunteer on campus with your chapter, and just arrange a time and just connect to them and arrange a time, since many of you have many people in your chapter. So just arranging a time that works for everyone and that works for the campus site. Okay. So we have more with the Adopt a Garden. If your chapter wants to adopt their own garden, take care of it, and have regular volunteer hours, that's something you can learn about through the website down here. And I can also follow up with email. We emailed it to you earlier, but I will also follow up after this meeting in case you would like to learn more, or like to learn more, or you might have lost that email or something. You might have get lost with all your other things. Okay. All right, so you have your 4 chapter steps. So some of you already requested a compost, and we will also be working with residential facilities, for those of you who have houses on campus, so that you can get a sign. Some of the trash cans, the actual compost trash cans, can be a little bit confusing because they look like a regular trash can, and they always say compost on the top. So for those ones, we'll try to get a sign that says, this is for compost only, for those of you who are housed on campus and interested. These are some also really cool examples. So when you are planning if your chapter is interested and wants to plan something, so you can also collaborate with different partners on campus. For example, if you want to collaborate with some art students on campus to help design or help sketch out what your project is going to look like, you can do that, or work on a sketch as a chapter and think about what colors you want. So there's a lot of things that need to be done in advance. So once you indicate that you're interested, we can start working with campus partners and start prepping for that. Since they're currently overstaffed, it's also might be something that will happen more in the spring. But letting us know in advance is awesome, so we can start planning. Okay, so now certifying as a green TERP. So at least 30%. So right now, as of today, most of you have 1 or 2 people currently certified for the 2021-2022 year. So we will be sharing with you via Google Docs, so you can see your exact numbers, and it will be updated regularly. So I will be sending on Wednesdays, sending an update that says midweek updates, and it would say like where everyone is at, so you can make sure that you're tracking that as you go. So I know a few of you mentioned that you are currently like recruiting. So whether you've had new members or plan to take in new members, so when you have new members join, you can feel free to talk to them about it as well. And also start off with the current members you have, since everyone is starting from scratch this year. So so it's for an academic year. So we apologize for any confusion that you all might have had earlier. Okay, so this is the website where people can register for your chapter members, and they can also reflect and note what actions they took, as well as get certified and get some goodies for getting certified from the Office of Sustainability. So this presentation has been shared with you. The one that was shared with you says share a copy. So with that one, you can feel free to edit it in any way you like. So, well, not edit it any way you like. We'll edit it in terms of like, if you want to change the colors, but the main text, the main information in this presentation, we would like you to continue to have. So your chapter has a complete idea of what they need to get done and what goes into this process. And that kind of just puts a little bit less work on you, since they know from day one what your chapter is committing to as a whole. Okay, so that's pretty much it when it comes to registering as Green Terps, and those are the main 3 steps. So in terms of your presentation, so just thinking about making sure your chapter members understand your role, understand that you have committed as a chapter, and are able to follow up with you if they have any questions about certification or anything like that, or if they have any ideas about certain events that they're all interested in. Do any of you have any additional questions that haven't been answered?
Yeah, I was just wondering how we're gonna get I know you said that we'll get the signs that come with the compost bins. Would there be a way to get like additional signs that kind of show what to recycle and the signs that you typically see in like the dining halls and stuff?
Yes, we can definitely get that for you. We can talk to residential services, and probably we would do